If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke. Marcus Aurelius. These words invite us to realize that the true source of our inner state lies not in external circumstances, but in our perception of them. This quote reveals one of the most profound principles of Stoicism. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we have absolute power over how we respond to it. Marcus Aurelius, as a Roman emperor, faced immense pressures daily. His life was filled with challenges, wars, diseases, and betrayals. Yet he found a way to maintain inner peace. How? By understanding that events themselves are neutral. They gain meaning only through the lens of our minds. We see the world, not as it is, but as we interpret it. Think of a time when you were late for an important meeting due to traffic. How did you feel? Most people would feel anger. Why does this have to happen now? But Stoics would ask, why be angry at something beyond your control? Does your frustration make the traffic disappear? Epictetus, another great Stoic thinker, once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of things." This statement highlights a critical truth. Our emotions result from our thoughts about events, not the events themselves. In other words, the problem isn't the traffic. It's how we've chosen to interpret it as a disaster. The secret to inner peace. Imagine living a life where you have complete control over your perception. When someone criticizes you, you don't feel hurt because you understand that it's merely their opinion, not an absolute truth. When you face failure, you see it as a lesson, not a defeat. How can this be achieved? The answer lies in practicing presence. When you realize that your reaction is a choice, you take full responsibility for your emotional state. Practice how to apply this idea. Pause and ask yourself, when you feel stressed, irritated, or angry, ask yourself, is this situation truly worth my suffering, or am I the one assigning it meaning? Shift your focus. Instead of dwelling on what you cannot change, focus on what you can do right now. For example, stuck in traffic, you could listen to an audiobook or music that soothes you. Practice mindfulness. Learn to notice your thoughts without automatically following them. For instance, if a thought triggers anxiety, simply observe it like a cloud passing in the sky. A story from the life of the Stoics. Let us recall an episode from Marcus Aurelius's life. During one of his military campaigns, he lost a significant portion of his army to disease. He had to make an unpopular decision: retreat and regroup. Many saw this as weakness, but Marcus understood that pushing forward despite the circumstances would lead to greater losses. He remarked, "Do not fight against what is inevitable. Accept it and use it for good." This approach allowed him to save his remaining soldiers and ultimately win the war. Simple truths that transform life. Understanding that everything in our lives begins with our perception can transform our worldview. For instance, when faced with criticism, remember it reflects the thoughts of others, not your true self. When fear about the future arises, remember, you live not in the future but in the present. Every time you recall that your mind determines how you respond to a situation, you gain freedom. Practical wisdom for modern times. In today's age of information overload, the Stoic idea of controlling perception is more relevant than ever. We are bombarded daily with news that induces fear, anxiety, and anger. Yet, as the Stoics would remind us, all of this is external. The true strength lies within us. Try spending a day applying Stoic principles. Ask yourself, why am I angry at this situation? Can I change it? If not, why waste energy worrying? You'll notice how your perspective on everyday challenges begins to shift. Conclusion: the present moment as the key to freedom. As Marcus Aurelius said, do not dwell in imagination about the future or regrets about the past. Live in the present moment. The power of the present moment lies in the fact that it is the only thing over which we have control. Embrace this power, and you'll discover that most of your problems dissolve, for they exist only in your mind. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Seneca. This quote serves as a profound reminder of the rhythm and flow of the universe. It encapsulates the Stoic belief that life unfolds in its own time, and that our task is not to resist, but to align ourselves with the natural order. To live in harmony with nature, as the Stoics taught, means to embrace the inherent wisdom in the way things are, both within ourselves and in the world around us. The wisdom of nature functions seamlessly without force. Rivers carve through mountains, the seasons change, and trees grow, all without rush or resistance. As humans, we often find ourselves caught up in the opposite approach: impatience, frustration, and a constant desire to control. Seneca's words encourage us to trust in the process of life. When we align with nature, we see that even difficulties are part of its design. The Stoics believed that just as the universe has its order, so too does every moment of our existence. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this. Everything that happens, happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so. The challenge lies in trusting that what unfolds, even if painful or challenging, is in alignment with a larger purpose. Resistance versus acceptance. A key obstacle to living in harmony with nature is resistance. We resist change, challenges, and outcomes we don't desire. But resistance only creates tension. Consider the analogy of a swimmer fighting against a strong current. The harder they struggle, the more exhausted they become. If they surrender and move with the flow, they find ease. Epictetus wisely remarked, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." This shift, from resistance to acceptance, brings clarity and peace. It doesn't mean passivity, rather it invites active engagement with reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Practical ways to live in harmony with nature. Observe and learn from nature. Take time to notice how nature operates. Trees lose their leaves in autumn without complaint. Rivers adapt to obstacles without stopping their flow. Reflect on how you might bring this adaptability into your own life. Practice patience. Understand that life has its seasons. Just as you cannot force a flower to bloom before its time, you cannot rush outcomes in your own life. Trust in the timing of events. Find gratitude in what is. Instead of focusing on what's missing or wrong, look for what is already present. Nature doesn't lament the absence of sunlight during a storm. It embraces the rain. A Stoic's perspective on adversity. The Stoics viewed challenges as part of the natural order. Seneca compared life to a play where we don't choose the roles but must perform them well. He wrote, "What happens to you is prescribed for you. It fits your destiny and fits your character." For example, imagine you lose a job. The initial reaction might be fear or anger. But viewed through the lens of Stoicism, this event could be seen as a redirection, a part of nature's way of guiding you toward something better suited for your growth. Harmony in modern life. In the fast-paced world of today, living in harmony with nature might feel impossible. We are pressured to achieve, succeed, and control outcomes. Yet this pressure is often self-imposed. The Stoics remind us to step back and question, are we fighting against the natural flow of life? Take, for instance, the anxiety of constant comparison, whether through social media or societal expectations. The Stoic approach would be to recognize that everyone has their own path, dictated by their unique nature and circumstances. Trying to force someone else's journey onto your own is like expecting a river to flow uphill. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if you will ever dig." This serves as a reminder that true contentment lies not in chasing external goals, but in aligning with our inner nature. A story of trusting nature's timing. During a famine in Rome, Marcus Aurelius faced immense pressure to act swiftly and decisively. His advisors pushed for immediate and aggressive measures that might have strained the empire's resources. But Marcus chose a measured response, trusting that the temporary hardship was part of a cycle. In the end, his patience paid off. The famine eased naturally as trade routes reopened, and Rome avoided a deeper crisis. Marcus's trust in the flow of events, tempered by wise action, demonstrated the Stoic principle of working with nature rather than against it. The ultimate lesson: life as a dance with nature. To live in harmony with nature is to embrace life as it is, with all its imperfections, challenges, and uncertainties. It means recognizing that just as a storm eventually passes, so too do our struggles. By observing and aligning with the rhythm of the universe, we find a sense of peace that no external circumstance can disrupt. As Seneca said, the whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. When we stop fighting the inevitable and instead flow with it, we unlock the wisdom and strength that nature has instilled in us. Life, in its essence, is not a battle to be won, but a journey to be embraced. We control our opinion, choice, desire, aversion, and, in a word, everything of our own doing. We do not control our body, property, reputation, or, in a word, anything not of our own doing. Epictetus. This foundational Stoic principle, what is within our control and what is not, offers a path to freedom. It teaches us to focus on what we can change and to release ourselves from the grip of external forces. The discipline of control is about understanding boundaries and directing our energy toward what truly matters, understanding the dichotomy of control. The Stoics divided life into two categories: things we can control. These include our thoughts, choices, and actions. Things we cannot control. These encompass the actions of others, the outcomes of events, and the natural flow of life. Epictetus emphasized that peace comes from focusing solely on the first category. When we entangle ourselves in what lies beyond our influence, we invite unnecessary suffering. For instance, imagine preparing for an important presentation. You can control your preparation, delivery, and mindset. However, you cannot control how your audience reacts. If you obsess over their opinions, you squander energy on what is beyond your reach. The cost of trying to control the uncontrollable modern life often pulls us toward the illusion of control. We believe we can dictate outcomes in relationships, careers, and even health. Yet when reality defies our expectations, frustration and despair follow. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote is a wake-up call to stop fighting battles we cannot win. Accepting the limits of control does not mean giving up. It means focusing our efforts where they will make a difference. Freedom through letting go. To practice the discipline of control is to cultivate freedom. When we relinquish attachment to external results, we free ourselves from their grip. The Stoics saw this as the ultimate liberation, being ruled by our reason rather than by circumstances. Epictetus advised, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This approach transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. Even when the outcome is unfavorable, we retain the ability to choose our response. Practical steps to master control identify what is truly yours. In any situation, pause and ask, what can I directly influence here? What is beyond my control? Focus solely on the former. Practice detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means investing effort without clinging to outcomes. For example, apply for a job wholeheartedly, but accept that the final decision is not yours to make. Reframe failure. When something doesn't go as planned, view it as feedback, not defeat. Failure lies outside your control, but learning from it is within your power. A lesson from Epictetus's life. Born into slavery, Epictetus had no control over his early circumstances. Yet he refused to see himself as a victim. He focused on mastering his thoughts and actions, eventually earning his freedom and becoming one of the most respected philosophers of his time. When asked how he maintained his composure despite hardships, he replied, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This profound wisdom teaches us that our freedom lies not in external conditions, but in our internal mastery, applying the discipline in everyday life. Consider how often we stress over things we cannot control: a delayed flight, someone's rude behavior, economic downturns. Each of these situations invites us to practice the Stoic mindset. Instead of resisting or reacting emotionally, we can ask, what part of this is mine to manage? The answer often lies in our attitude and actions. Modern relevance, the trap of over-control. In today's hyper-connected world, the illusion of control is amplified. Social media creates the pressure to curate perfect lives, while technology gives us tools to micromanage every aspect of existence. Yet this often leads to anxiety and burnout. The Stoics remind us to release this false control. When we stop obsessing over likes, opinions, and outcomes, we create space for genuine peace. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not waste what remains of your life on what others think of you unless it directly affects the common good." This wisdom encourages us to shift focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. A modern example, the athlete's mindset. Elite athletes exemplify the discipline of control. A tennis player cannot dictate their opponent's performance, but can control their preparation, focus, and strategy. By channeling energy into what they can influence, they maximize their potential and stay grounded regardless of the result. Finding strength in limits. Ironically, recognizing what we cannot control often makes us stronger. It narrows our focus and sharpens our efforts. Instead of spreading ourselves thin, we concentrate on what truly matters. This mindset fosters resilience. When storms arise, we don't waste energy wishing them away. Instead, we build shelter. Conclusion: mastery of the mind. The discipline of control is the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It empowers us to navigate life's unpredictability with grace and wisdom. As Epictetus concluded, "He who is free is he who lives as he wishes, who is neither subject to compulsion nor to hindrance nor to force." Freedom, in the Stoic sense, is not about circumstances. It is about mastery of the mind. When we embrace what is within our control and release the rest, we unlock the strength to thrive in any situation. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. In this timeless wisdom lies the heart of the Stoic approach to adversity. Challenges are not barriers to success, but essential components of it. Every difficulty, according to the Stoics, is an opportunity to strengthen character, refine virtues, and discover a path forward. Adversity is not something to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a teacher. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that life's trials are not interruptions of the journey. They are the journey itself. Reframing obstacles, the Stoic lens. To the Stoics, what happens to us is less important than how we interpret and respond to it. This mindset is beautifully expressed by Epictetus. Difficulties show a person's character. So when a challenge arises, remember that the obstacle is the test you have been waiting for. What if we viewed each setback as an invitation to grow? A failure at work, for instance, might teach resilience or creativity. A strained relationship could foster patience or humility. Instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic asks, "What can I learn from this?" The alchemy of adversity. Turning pain into power, Stoics believe that adversity is not inherently negative. It is neutral, gaining value only through our response. This principle was vividly demonstrated by the life of Seneca. Seneca was exiled from Rome and stripped of his wealth, circumstances that would break many. Yet during this period, he wrote some of his most profound philosophical works. Rather than lament his fate, He saw it as a chance to deepen his understanding of life's impermanence and the power of the mind. He wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This resilience is not a denial of pain, but a transformation of it. The Stoics acknowledged that hardship hurts, but they also believed we could use it to grow stronger, wiser, and more virtuous. Practical ways to embrace adversity. Change your perspective. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how can this situation make me stronger? What virtue does this test in me? Patience, courage, discipline. If I succeed despite this, how will I grow? Focus on action, not complaint. Complaining about adversity drains energy. Instead, direct your focus to what you can do. For example, if you've been laid off, channel energy into updating your skills or exploring new opportunities. Find meaning in struggle. As Viktor Frankl, influenced by Stoicism, observed during his time in a concentration camp, suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning. Reflect on how adversity might be shaping you for something greater. Stories of adversity. The Stoic heroes consider the life of Marcus Aurelius. As emperor, he faced unrelenting challenges. Plagues ravaged his empire, wars threatened its borders, and political betrayals tested his resolve. Instead of succumbing to despair, he used these difficulties as fuel for growth. His meditations were written not in comfort but amidst the chaos of his reign. They remain a testament to his ability to transform hardship into wisdom. In one passage, Marcus writes, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." This imagery captures the Stoic ethos. Adversity is not extinguishing but empowering. Adversity is the source of virtue. The Stoics saw virtues, courage, wisdom, temperance, and justice as the highest goods. These virtues cannot be developed without challenges. Courage grows in the face of fear. Wisdom emerges through failure and reflection. Temperance is strengthened by resisting indulgence. Justice is tested when faced with unfairness. Seneca remarked, "No man is more unhappy than he who has never faced adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." This philosophy flips conventional thinking. The easy life is not the ideal. It is through trials that we forge the best version of ourselves. Modern relevance, adversity in today's world. In a world that often promises comfort and ease, adversity can feel like a personal failure. But the Stoic perspective reframes hardship as a natural and necessary part of life. For example, losing a job could lead to discovering a more fulfilling career. A health scare might inspire healthier habits. A failed relationship might teach self-awareness and emotional growth. The Stoics remind us that hardship is not unique to us. It is part of the human experience. What sets us apart is how we respond. Practical exercise. The obstacle journal. To apply this Stoic principle, try keeping an obstacle journal. Each day, write down a challenge you faced. Reflect on what it taught you and how it helped you grow. Over time, you'll begin to see adversity not as an enemy, but as a guide. The ultimate lesson: growth through resistance. Adversity is not just something to endure, it is something to embrace. It shapes us into stronger, wiser, and more capable individuals. As Marcus Aurelius teaches, look back over the past with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. But in all of it, the impediment to action is always the way forward. When we stop resisting and start learning from life's obstacles, we discover that every setback carries within it the seed of growth. Conclusion: triumph through trials. The Stoic path to growth is not about avoiding pain or difficulty. It is about finding purpose in it. Adversity, when faced with courage and wisdom, becomes a tool for transformation. As we cultivate the ability to turn obstacles into opportunities, we unlock the power to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. In this, we find not only strength but also fulfillment. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. Gratitude is a central pillar of Stoic philosophy, serving as an antidote to dissatisfaction and a path to deep, enduring contentment. In a world that often encourages us to focus on what we lack, the Stoics challenge us to cultivate appreciation for what we already possess. The art of gratitude, according to the Stoics, is not a superficial exercise but a profound shift in perspective. It is about recognizing the abundance in our lives and understanding that fulfillment comes not from external acquisitions, but from internal alignment with what truly matters. The power of gratitude in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that gratitude fosters resilience and strength. When we focus on the positives in our lives, we become less vulnerable to external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you do not have, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave them if they were not yours." This reflection reminds us that what we take for granted today might once have been the very thing we desperately desired. Gratitude helps us anchor ourselves in the present and find joy in what is already within reach. Why we struggle with gratitude. Modern life often conditions us to seek more possessions, achievements, and recognition. This mindset breeds dissatisfaction as we constantly compare ourselves to others or chase unattainable ideals. The Stoics saw this endless pursuit as a trap that blinds us to life's true gifts. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Gratitude, by contrast, shifts our focus from lack to abundance. It helps us see that wealth is not measured by possessions but by contentment. Practicing gratitude in daily life. Start each day with reflection. Begin your morning by identifying 3 things you are grateful for. These could be simple pleasures, a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or the opportunity to face a new day. Reframe challenges. Instead of resenting difficulties, consider what they teach you. For example, a demanding job might help you develop discipline and resilience. Limit comparisons. Social media and societal pressures often drive us to compare our lives to others. Practice focusing on your unique journey and the blessings it brings. Gratitude. Journaling. Keep a journal where you record moments of joy or gratitude each evening. Over time, this practice rewires your mind to seek and appreciate the positive. Gratitude as a source of strength. The Stoics understood that life is unpredictable, often marked by loss, pain, and uncertainty. Gratitude serves as a stabilizing force, helping us maintain equilibrium even in adversity. Consider the story of a soldier who loses his home in war. While grieving his loss, he finds solace in the friendships he has forged and the resilience he has developed. This shift from lamenting what is gone to valuing what remains is the essence of Stoic gratitude. Epictetus wrote, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. By focusing on what hardship leaves behind, strength, wisdom, and clarity, we cultivate gratitude even for life's trials." The connection between gratitude and contentment. Gratitude and contentment are deeply intertwined. Contentment is the result of aligning our desires with reality, while gratitude is the practice that helps us recognize the richness of that reality. Together, they form a foundation for true fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Gratitude allows us to change our estimates, shifting focus from what we lack to the wealth of experiences, relationships, and opportunities we already have. Gratitude in action. The tale of a philosopher. In one of Seneca's letters, he recounts a story about a poor man who lived a joyful life despite owning little. When asked how he maintained his happiness, the man replied, "I possess everything I truly need, a mind to think, a heart to feel, and a world full of beauty to experience." This simple yet profound perspective captures the Stoic essence of gratitude. Fulfillment comes not from possessions, but from appreciating the richness of existence itself. Modern relevance. Cultivating gratitude in a consumerist culture. Today's world often equates happiness with acquisition. Advertisements tell us that the next car, gadget, or promotion will bring fulfillment. Yet research shows that the more we chase material wealth, the less satisfied we become. The Stoics offer a powerful antidote: gratitude for the immaterial. Relationships. Health. Freedom to choose our thoughts and actions. When we shift our focus from having to being, we unlock a deeper sense of peace. The gratitude ritual, a Stoic practice. To incorporate gratitude into your daily routine, try this Stoic-inspired ritual. At the end of each day, reflect on what went well. Identify one challenge and consider its hidden blessing. Express thanks to someone who positively impacted your day, either through a message or a silent thought. This practice not only fosters gratitude but strengthens relationships and nurtures a positive outlook. The ultimate lesson: gratitude as a way of life. Gratitude is not a fleeting emotion, but a lifelong discipline. It requires effort to shift our focus from dissatisfaction to appreciation, but the rewards are immense. As Seneca beautifully summarized, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. When we learn to value what we have, no matter how small, we unlock the secret to contentment. Gratitude becomes our compass, guiding us through life with a sense of purpose and peace. Conclusion. The transformative power of gratitude. To live with gratitude is to embrace life fully, recognizing both its gifts and its challenges as opportunities for growth. The Stoics teach us that the key to fulfillment lies not in seeking more, but in appreciating what we already possess. As you cultivate this practice, you'll find that contentment is not a destination, but a state of being, one that enriches every aspect of your existence.